Hello there, everybody. This is General Snivy, and welcome back to more of the Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition playthrough. Last time we started our adventure, took on a few quests, completed a few of them, and then my internet shot itself and I had to end the stream abruptly/early. So, that wasn't fun. So hopefully in today's session we'll actually have a proper one that will actually last 3 hours as opposed to just a little over a single hour. And I'll actually be able to explain more of the game that I didn't get a chance to explain in the last session due to technical difficulties. So anyway, there are some things I didn't quite explain yet, and one of those things I'll go ahead and go over right now. If we take a look at the arts, or more or less take a look at certain arts right here, you may have noticed that there are certain damage values, such as the backslash, for example, for Shulk, can deal anywhere between 428 damage to 496 damage. Well, believe it or not, this value is kind of RNG based. And honestly, I feel as though the higher the level is, not only will you be able to deal more damage, but the cooldown of how long it takes before you can use the art again, it also decreases greatly over time. And I think the multiplier for certain abilities, such as backslash, also increase over time too. Then again, maybe I'm completely wrong. But regardless, though, that is something worth mentioning. And it's not just for arts either. This also applies to regular attacks. Although I think with Shulk and his weapon in particular, this particular weapon I don't think has a certain... Okay, never mind. I was thinking that it has like a steady attack value, at least with his current weapon, but no, that's not exactly the case 100% necessarily. Really, I think basically the damage you'll deal is kind of RNG based, but at the same time, another thing to keep in mind is that the minimum damage that you can deal, that's the least amount of damage you can deal with your current strike at once. So that is something to keep in mind. Same with the maximum too, so again, something else to keep in mind in due time. There's also some other pieces of trivia I have not yet pointed out, and it honestly kind of had to do with the intro portion of the game where we fought as Dunban and also had Dixon as well as Mumkar in our party. Well, believe it or not, Mumkar's costume, his costume actually changes between a normal playthrough and New Game Plus. For anyone who is familiar with this game's story and story's events and whatnot, they'll know exactly what that costume is. I'm not going to say what it is for spoiler reasons, but even so, just figure I'd point that out there. As far as other characters' costumes are concerned, again, you can always change a character's costume at any time by changing their equipment and going into their appearance column. Funny enough, you can, obviously I elected to just stick with their starting default outfits and weaponry, just for the sake of continuity, and just for the sake of, keeping things in the right order. Of course, I will be changing my things around throughout the course of this playthrough, with the exception of this session, because this session, in the last session, it kind of ended abruptly, and so this one, I'm just going to keep everything the way it is. And the only thing I'm not going to be changing is going to be Shulk's weapon of choice. Not until we reach certain milestones in the game. So, for now, I'm going to be keeping Shulk's junk sword on him. Eventually, when we get our hands on some new weapons, of course, I will be changing them out. Same goes for Ryan and anyone else who joins our lovely group of misfits, if you know what I mean. So, funny enough, You can change your outfits in any way you see fit, so long as you've acquired a costume piece that you've previously acquired in any playthrough that you've done in the game. There are still some costume pieces that I'm missing for many characters, but I'm not missing too many, all things considered. And I should have more than enough money to buy everything that I need from this point going forward. But even so, I figure I'd throw it out there regardless. So, in other words, there's nothing stopping us from traveling the world in nothing but our frickin' swimsuits and just, oh, I don't know, take down Almighty God. Foreshadowing. Just saying. Alright, now with that out of the way, let's head into this lovely base over here because, well, technically speaking, Ryan headed over here before because he had some stuff to do with Square Stash. Might as well see what this is all about.
You idiots! What the hell are you playing at?
Uh-oh. The Colonel's gonna explode.
Crashing the mobile artillery into a house. How long have you been in the Force?
Sorry, sir. It's just that we were trying to go as fast as we could, like you ordered. But it's impossible to get back to the military district in only 40 seconds.
I don't want any excuses. Champions don't whine. They win.
Yes, sir.
You're a disgrace to the uniform. Are you forgetting the shame you brought on this force during joint maneuvers with Colony 6? Stick your back into it, maggots! Move it!
Yes, sir.
Get the artillery back to the military district, double time! Then I want 1,000,000 press-ups from both of you, and you better not stop until your biceps explode!
Colonel, we can't move the artillery.
What? You better give a damn good reason why.
Sir, the impact of the crash damaged the ether conduction cable. The ether fuel proceeded to leak out, and now the cylinder is empty.
Well, change the cylinder then. Can't you even do something as simple as that?
The auxiliary cylinders have all been used up. It'll be 3 days until more come in, sir.
I told you to keep a stock of fuel in reserve.
Sorry, sir.
You're nothing but slackers.
Oof.
Same old Colonel. At this rate, the men will all be dead before they see any action.
Well, that was definitely a fun time. Let's speak to you now. Some Lake Flammy on the beach near Anti-Air Battery 1. Okay, that sounds pretty simple enough. Also, apologies if I keep scrolling through these a bit too quickly. I guess, in a sense, this is kind of a force of habit I developed over the course of the game. Because there are so many quests in this game, I'm kind of going through these dialogue boxes so damn fast, and reading these, it really isn't too difficult to do, so long as you have some basic reading skills and know what to do, where to go. Hell, even having knowledge of prior playthroughs, it just makes things so much easier, if you know what I mean. By the way, if you're scrolling through text, you can simply push the A button to stop the scrolling text and make it jump straight to the end. So, that's something worth mentioning. Let's talk to you. Also, say hello to the first of many cute and cuddly species known as the Nopon. Nopon are a species of people who are basically like traveling merchants. They also tend to be quite... I'm not really sure how to describe it. Think of it as a certain species of people here on this very Earth. And by species, I mean a certain race of people, or no, not really race, but more like religion of people. I'm not going to say what it is for obvious reasons, but you basically get the idea. But not all of them are like that. Let me make that perfectly clear. I'm just saying it's kind of more like the stereotypical version of that particular religion, if you know what I mean.
Yes.
Kind of funny to see... did those people just disappear? Yep. That's a pretty funny quirk about this game. Whenever a certain amount of time passes, you'll sometimes see that people just magically vanish without a trace. And it's funny to see that Ryan is over here doing push-ups. Makes sense, he is kind of in the defense force for Colony 9. So, that's something.
Yes.
Evil Ragngot, whatever. Tefra Hill. Aren't you being kind of lazy with that sort of duty? But whatever, I guess I'll take it on for you because, well, I am the nicest person on the face of the earth. And I am basically God here. Foreshadowing. Okay, I'll stop with that kind of crap now. Anyway. As I mentioned in the last session, it's a good idea to accept as many side quests as you can, speak to as many named NPCs as possible, because you never know. You never know what they may have in store for you. I never really explained how I'm going to be handling quests, and that is, I will be taking on as many as I can possibly come across throughout the course of the game. I don't exactly plan on taking on every single quest, but I'll take on as many as possible.
What is it?
And the reason why I want to do that is just to show off as much of the game as possible. As certain areas, believe it or not, only unlock after completing certain quests. So, that is something worth mentioning here. Okay. And like I've mentioned before, certain characters only come out at certain times. So again, that's something else to keep in mind. As you can see, it is 18:15, and there's several named NPCs just coming out of the lab out of nowhere. Well, someplace within the lab. But yeah, it is pretty damn important to speak to every single named NPC that you can. And also memorize where each of them are, or where they tend to hang out. They may start at a particular location, but will move to a designated point within a designated amount of time, and will hang out until a designated amount of time. So basically, if an NPC comes out at around 1500 hours, and they are at location X for approximately 8 hours, then around the 7-hour mark, they'll start heading back to their original starting point. So, let's say, for example, here, we're in the Weapon Development Lab. There's an NPC here that goes, let's say, to the Central Plaza. Well, they'll hang out at the Central Plaza for a certain amount of time, which is labeled on your Affinity Chart. And after around the last hour of which they'll hang out, they'll start heading back to their original starting position, which would be at the Weapon Development Lab. Of course, I don't know if there's any NPC that actually does this, but I'm just giving an example to the best of my knowledge.
What's up?
So let's take a look at the next series of quests that become available now, now that it's basically all but nighttime here. Which, again, you can change the time at any time at your leisure, for the most part. So, that's something worth mentioning. Also, another thing I haven't mentioned yet is you can jump in this game with the simple push of the B button. I know it sounds kind of weird that I'm talking about a basic control scheme, but some people may not necessarily know exactly how to jump in this game. But believe it or not, jumping is relatively important. So that is something to keep in mind. Speaking of something to keep in mind, there is one other thing that needs to be mentioned here, and that is the jump height between the original Xenoblade Chronicles and Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition. The jumping height has been nerfed a bit. So, what I mean by this is, if you couldn't tell, you don't really get to jump really that far or that high into the air. I mean, it seems kind of minor, but trust me, it does add up over time. Especially when you are able to perform simple jumps very easily in the original game, but you can't make those jumps as easily here in the Definitive Edition. I don't know why they adjusted the jump physics, or just jumps in general. My only guess as to why is because speedrunners who speedrun the original game and have optimized it to a T, they basically relied on this floaty jumping thing. And as a result of that, Monolith Soft wanted to nerf it a bit to make it so it's not as floaty. And I see their ambitions of trying to make the jumping controls a little bit more coherent and more in line with Xenoblade Chronicles 2. As Xenoblade Chronicles 2 also has a bit of a nerfed jump height, but I feel as though you jump further in this game than in Xenoblade 2. But I'm just saying. So, say for example, there's this jump right here. If this was the original Xenoblade Chronicles on Wii, I could jump over this no problem. But as you can see here, it's a challenge. Hell, I can't even jump over this, I don't know, maybe 4-foot, high divider thing, whatever the hell it is. Regardless, though, it's one of those things where it doesn't work as well as it should. But honestly, the jump height thing really isn't too bad when it comes to casual playthroughs. Hell, even speedrunners are still getting used to the new jumping mechanic, kind of, but really it's not as bad as I'm making it out to be. Broken your watch, eh? Alright, that shouldn't be too hard. Excuse me. So funny enough, this NPC named Desiree, her father was a bit of a genius when it came to machines and parts, and just, he's kind of a lot like Shulk in a sense. But there's also a pretty gruesome detail that you'll find out later on in the game about Desiree's father, which I never even knew about until my most recent playthrough of this game. So, after reading in between the lines and connecting 2 and 2 together, I figured it out. Of course, I'm not going to explain what those details are right now. Of course, I'm going to be speaking about it later down the line, when we actually get to that point. But, right now, I'm not going to be worrying about said details. Just keep in mind that her father was an amazing mechanic of some sort. He was really good with machines, and that's all there is to it. Alright, here you go. And I did not mean to skip through the dialogue that fast. If you're watching this on YouTube in the future, feel free to pause the video to read the dialogue if you so wish. Again, force a habit, I don't mean to do that so damn much. There is one other thing I haven't mentioned yet, and that is the controls for navigating menus, or just pulling up the menu in general, has received a massive upgrade from the original release on the Wii. Instead of having to push a single button to bring up a sub-menu and then select from that sub-menu while on the field, you just simply push a button, pull up the menu, and select what you need. So, it's literally as simple as that. Just push a button and bring up what you need. Speaking of overhauls in the menus, the equipment screen also got a massive overhaul, as you can see here. Honestly, this is more in line with, I believe, Xenoblade Chronicles 2, kind of, but not really. But it's more like a mixture between Xenoblade Chronicles 2 and the first game, as you can see here. So, that is something worth mentioning regardless. Okay, I did not mean to talk to you. I actually meant to talk to you. Something worth researching, eh? Seems that Shulk is quite the celebrity around here. Makes sense, considering he's really good with machines. I wonder if he has, like, an electrical engineering degree or something. I wonder if those things even exist in this universe. That'd be kind of interesting if there were such things as universities and colleges. Places like that, like educational institutions. I mean, granted, there are educational institutions here. I mean, like, for regular grade school. I'm not so sure about other places like, colleges, universities, etc., as I was speaking about before. Also, this particular NPC here, and we'll be encountering these kinds of NPCs, they run shops. When you go to a shop, you can buy any items that they are currently selling. And as the reputation of a town builds up, some new items may appear within the shop. And obviously, the items you can buy here range from weapons to headgear, armor shirts, like for your torso, arms like gauntlets, leggings, boots, and you can also buy art manuals here. Art manuals, when you purchase these, you'll be able to essentially upgrade an art. In other words, be able to increase its level of which you can upgrade an art to. Since I've already taken the liberty of upgrading every single art to level 12, which is the new default after completing the extra story for this game, excuse me, any art books that we get our hands on from this point going forward is completely useless. By the way, you'll know if you've learned an art from a particular art book by looking at the art book icon itself and see whether or not it has a star on it. If it has a star, then that art has been learned already from that particular art book. Otherwise, don't worry about it. It's as simple as that. Let's see here. I feel as though there's some other residents I can speak to at this point in time. Yeah, it looks like there is. So, one other thing I haven't mentioned yet is that the fast travel option previously on the Wii was a bit cumbersome, as you had to figure out what button does what, especially if you're playing with a single Wii remote and nunchuck combination, which, oddly enough, that was my preferred method of play when it came to the original game on Wii. Funny enough, this game did get a re-release on not only the Wii U Virtual Console, but it also had a bit of a strange port on the Nintendo 3DS. I can't really speak from experiences, as I've never played the 3DS port of this game, but from what I hear, it's basically the same as the Wii version, just you play it portably. That's really all there is to it. It's a simple port with a few additions, but it also came with its own fair share of problems. And one of those big problems was the fact that the resolution was cut down significantly, along with the draw distance. So things that should be appearing from further away only appear when you get close to it. Again, this is from what I hear over the grapevine. I can't really say from experience for sure, but regardless, it's something worth pointing out. Let's see, what else? I think the frame rate on the 3DS port was also not as consistent as it was on Wii. So, overall, the Wii version of the experience of Xenoblade Chronicles was the definitive way of playing the game, at least at the time. However, the 3DS version actually does have some exclusive features that remain exclusive to that version to this very day, which is kind of strange considering that the definitive edition on Switch is the definitive way to play the game now. Those features are a model viewer as well as a music player. which is kind of weird considering that those features did not make their way over to this version of the game. I don't know why they did not make their way over to this version, but alas, it is what it is. Again, no big deal, but still, even with those features exclusive to the 3DS version, it really isn't all that spectacular anyway, considering that the resolution is way lower, the model viewer was kind of pointless, and the music viewer was nice, but a lot of times you can find these tracks online without too much of a problem. Although nowadays it is a bit of a chore, but it's not that bad, honestly. Alright, let's proceed.
Alright, Shulk. How are you?
Dixon! When did you get back to Colony 9?
Just now. I see you've been busy. Looks like your Monado research has been going well. I made the right choice leaving you in charge.
Your research notes really helped.
So, you can activate it now then.
Well, anyone can activate it. The problem is controlling it.
Yeah, for everyone except him.
Yes. If anyone other than Dunban were able to control the Monado, we could surpass any military force in the world.
You think so? What are these hidden functions you mention?
It's still only conjecture, but it's starting to look like the Monado might be something far more significant than just a weapon for defeating Mechon.
I see.
Much
and the
more.
evidence to support your theory?
It's the symbol that appears in the center when it's activated. What I know is, the central piece is made from multi-layered glass. The symbol appears on the top layer, and each layer is constructed differently.
So it's possible that other symbols could appear on different layers.
Which means...
the Monado might conceal even more power.
More than you'll ever know.
if we could just unlock the Monado's power.
Dunban! Dunban!
Prioritize the most severely injured! Come on, get a move on!
Dunban!
Don't look like that. I haven't gone yet. Shulk.
Oh my. I wonder what Dunban said. Guess we'll find out soon enough. But, as you can see, he was severely injured, mainly due to the Monado, and also the Mechon didn't really help things either.
Monado. It was controlling me. Even so, it saved us. Saved our future. Next, it will be up to you.
Foreshadowing!
Dunban.
Well, I better get the supplies delivered to the defense force. I'll drop round the HQ and see how they're getting on.
Okay then. I'll see you later.
Shulk, you're spending too much time in the lab. Either that or rummaging for junk in the scrapyard. It ain't healthy for a kid your age. That's why you're always looking so pasty. You should get out, get some fresh air once in a while. All right, I'm off.
Was Dunban's clothes... Yeah, they're kind of glitching. The hell's that about?
Are you awake yet?
Is it time to eat already? You didn't have to bring it yourself. You could have just called me.
Don't be silly. Do you want me to feed you?
Don't treat me like an invalid. I'm better than I was a year ago.
Much better. I really thought I lost you back then.
Yes, but now I'm almost well enough to handle the Monado again.
Dunban, don't say that. The Mechon have gone now. Why would you say that?
I just mean I'm prepared. Sorry.
Okay. More importantly, eat up before it gets cold. I made something really special today.
Don't feel like you need to stay here then, Fiora. Go and make your next delivery.
Huh?
Well, I'm sure you'd like Shulk to try some while it's still hot.
That's okay. Shulk has no sense of taste. He'll say it's delicious even if it's stone cold.
In which case, today he would actually mean it.
Maybe.
I'm fine, Fiora. Off you go.
Okay. Dunban, thanks.
I'm not finished yet. I have to be prepared to use the Monado again.
So, at this point, as you can see, we got control of another character. Say hello to Fiora. Fiora is Dunban's younger sister. So, that's pretty interesting. What's also interesting is that she is wearing technically an outfit that I gave her, like, during my first playthrough. So, in other words, the outfit that she currently has equipped, I was not able to change this for story reasons. So that is kind of lame. However, she does carry over her skills as well as her, or maybe not this version of her arts. And oddly enough, her arts, as you can see here, go up to as high as level 10. And it's like this for story reasons. However, this does give me a good opportunity to show off the art leveling up mechanic. So when you get enough AP, you can level up a art. And as you can see, since I technically have all the art books for Fiora already, I can have her arts go up to as high as level 10. And also another thing worth pointing out too is I think she can get her hands on some more arts, but there's not too many that she can get her hands on at this point in time. Hell, I think she's just stuck with these 4 abilities throughout the course of this part of the game. But that's really all you need to know about her. So let's go ahead and level up this to level 2 now, shall we? So as you can see, her damage output is 311 to 326. Pretty stable, but her cooldown is kind of lackluster. There's also a bleed effect that applies to it that ranges from 62 to 65 damage. And the effect time is 10 seconds. So if we level this up, we'll be able to increase not only the damage from the base damage value, but we can also increase the bleed damage and also reduce the cooldown time. So, yeah, definitely worth investing AP to level up these arts for these people. And obviously, the more powerful the art gets, the more AP is required to level them up even further. So, another thing worth mentioning here is that due to story reasons, we won't be able to maximize Fiora's arts, at least not right now, which is kind of unfortunate, and it's just going to be that way until I start another playthrough and get to that point in the game again. In other words, get to this point in the game again, where I can use Fiora and her arts, and just use her in general. So, at this point, we're given a new type of quest. This is known as a story quest. Story quests do not award any experience, gold, etc. They don't award much of anything other than unlocking story progression. unlike all other side quests in the game, story quests must be accepted and they must be completed in order to progress. So that's something worth mentioning.
Hey, Fiora.
Dixon,
Looks like you're in a hurry. Where are you off to?
I just thought I'd take Shulk some food. I'm on my way to the lab.
Shulk's not there right now.
Really?
I just sent him out to get some fresh air. You know where he'll have gone.
Outlet Park.
That's the one.
Okay, thanks, Dixon.
Okay, well that was pretty neat. I think I can technically enable expert mode for Fiora as well. And as you can see, her starting level, let's take a look. Looks like her starting level is level 2. Unfortunately, I can't bring this down any further than level 2. And at this point, I think I will leave Fiora at level 13. Even though it's higher than both Shulk and Rhyne right now. I just want to make things a little bit easier and also be able to show off Fiora a bit more than normal. So, Fiora's battle style is similar to that of Shulk. Her arts are even similar. So, that's something worth mentioning. You know. By the way, even if you do change characters, if you change characters and a certain quest giver gave a quest to, say, Shulk, for example, and you're able to complete it as another character, then you'll successfully complete the quest, no problem. So that's something worth mentioning regardless. Basically, anyone can complete any quest at any time, most of the time. There are going to be some exceptions to the rule at a later point in time. Cool. That's that one done. That was pretty neat. So anyway, let's talk about Fiora's arts, shall we? Power Smash, if she attacks someone from behind, she'll deal additional damage. But she'll also deal a fairly decent amount of damage from the front as well, though she'll deal way more damage in the back. So that's something worth mentioning. She also has a Daze art. Whenever someone is inflicted with a topple status, you can inflict Daze immediately afterwards. That was easy enough. Well, duh, it's level 4. Well, what should I expect? Fiora also has a pretty interesting talent art as well. Basically, it is a combo-based art. Also, it might be fun to take that thing on right now, but I kind of want to wait on that until the gang's all together. And the reason why is just to make things that much easier and really just more fun. Especially considering that Fiora is the strongest one right now. Which, again, I know I can technically drop her level down to level 2, or even to level 4 to round her out with everyone else. Which, honestly, that may not be a bad idea. But I think I'm just gonna say, nah, not gonna worry about that right now, and I'm just going to focus on just completing a couple of quests that are around here. And honestly, it's not a bad idea to do that anyway. Most of the quests around here are very easy to complete. And hell, we just completed another one right there. Pretty sweet. By the way, if a quest requires you to get a certain number of items from a particular enemy, or just a certain number of items in general, then upon completing the quest, or completing that step within the quest line, those items are immediately removed from your inventory and given to that particular quest. So, yeah, that's something worth mentioning. Also, you may notice these blue orbs that are around everywhere. So, what these things are, if you go over to collectibles and go to Collectopedia, these items are able to be placed within your Collectopedia. If you complete a certain row within a given category, then you'll get a pretty neato item. Complete all categories, and you'll get an even more awesome item for that particular area. As you can see, there are quite a few categories here. We have vegetables, fruit, flowers, bugs, parts, and strange items. Whatever item you pick up is not necessarily randomized, as depending on where you are, certain things spawn at certain locations, though it's not 100% accurate, so that is something worth mentioning. As far as other, this is an entirely different beast when it comes to the Collectopedia and completing this. When it comes to the Collectopedia on the other category, this can only be done via trades. I never really gone over trades yet, but speaking to a named NPC, you can execute what is known as a trade by pushing the Y button as opposed to the A button to speak to that individual. So, trading items is a pretty simple procedure. Basically, if you're after a certain item of which that individual is holding, you trade a item that is equal or of higher value to that individual. In which case, you'll then trade that high value item for the lower value item of which the individual has, and that's just basically how trading works. As you progress through the game and also get your hands on, as you progress through the game and increase a town's reputation, then new trade items will become available from certain individuals. So that is something worth mentioning here. So say for example you're hunting down a pretty rare item. However, you know that a individual has said item, but is not offering that up for trade. To get that item to show up for a trading thing, all you have to do is increase the town's reputation, which is pretty easy to do. All you have to do to increase the town's reputation is just simply complete quests. Complete quests and also update your Affinity Chart. Updating your Affinity Chart is as easy as speaking to named NPCs. And oddly enough, after completing certain quests, it's a good idea to speak to another named NPC that was affected by the quest to update the Affinity Chart even further to increase the reputation. The reputation of a town can be as high as from 1 star all the way down to 5 stars. So, Colony 9's reputation is currently 1 star. As we complete more quests and speak to more and more named NPCs, this Affinity Chart will become extremely populated, and it's going to be quite a cluster, if you know what I mean. And of course, you can view the affinity between party members as you can see here, which is pretty interesting. I think I even brought up the Affinity Chart briefly in the last session, but I really didn't do much with it. So, yeah, that's something worth mentioning.
The Monado. It's the only sword that's effective against the Mechon armor. They say that before time began, it was wielded by the Bionis. The same Bionis that we all live on. It must have a secret. That's how Dunban was able to destroy so many Mechon. And why he lost the use of his right arm. If I can just unlock the secret of its power.
Shulk!
Fiora. This is great. It tastes so good.
Really?
It's amazing.
Oh, Shulk, you say that every day.
Not quite. It's always delicious, but today it's amazing.
Also, apparently Shulk can't eat a sandwich to save his life. This is kind of a meme within the Xenoblade community. Between this and Xenoblade Chronicles 2, where the same problem occurs. Just saying.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, thank goodness. I used some special herbs and spices today. So if you said it was just the same as usual, I'd know for sure you had no sense of taste.
What?
Oh, nothing. Ah, the breeze feels so good.
Yeah. I'd forgotten what it feels like. I never thought it could be so quiet here.
You're spending too much time with Ryan. You're getting used to all the noise he makes.
Yeah, maybe.
It's so peaceful. You know, Shulk, I hope every day can be like this, always.
Huh? The debris siren.
Strange. There hasn't been much falling lately.
There might be more on the way. The anti-air batteries can't protect us out here. Let's get back to the lab.
Okay.
So now that we've reunited with Shulk, we can technically choose to continue to play as Fiora, or we can switch out the party and change the party leader. Just simply head into the main menu and select party, and you can select a character and swap them out for another. So if I, excuse me, if I want to play as Shulk right now, I can do that. Or I can choose to continue to play as Fiora, which, honestly, I think I will switch over to Shulk, or, you know what, nah. I'm not going to worry about this right now. So, let's just stick with what we have, with Fiora in the front, and Shulk by her side. There we are. All done with that. So then, before, excuse me, before we head back, let's show this off. This is known as a heart-to-heart. In the original game, you won't be able to view very much information about a heart-to-heart. And honestly, it's a good idea to, I mean, I don't even know what I was trying to say. I think what I was trying to say was, when viewing a requirement for a heart-to-heart, the original game doesn't really tell you much when it came to requirements, affinity requirements, etc. And also, you may notice some heart-to-hearts, we may have encountered some of them, but we weren't able to access them, as you need to progress within a later point in the game in order to view the heart-to-heart. So, let's view this one, Sunrise in the Park. Hey Shulk, you remember that time we watched the sunrise here? It was when we were quite young. Yeah, I remember. We came because... when it comes to heart-to-hearts of this game, you actually have a series of dialogue options. And depending on which one you picked depending on which one you pick, it determines whether you'll gain additional affinity between you and the recipient, or, worst case scenario, it drops. So, I believe the right answer to this is you and Dunban. And if you see that the hearts rise up like that, that means you selected the right answer. If you see them drop, then that means you selected the incorrect answer. You had a big falling out. Yeah, it wasn't pretty. Really, it had nothing to do with you. But I still dragged you out and made you stay up all night. I'm glad we did, even though it was only that one time. We talked for hours and hours about all our hopes and dreams. And then you fell asleep on my arms as we looked up at the stars. Oh no! What is it? Oh, Shulk. I have this terrible feeling I had said something really embarrassing. Like I wanted to get married. Shulk, you don't remember what I said back then. I don't even remember what the right answer is. You wanted to go fishing? Okay, that was definitely not the right answer. And, yeah. If you select the wrong answer with maxed affinity, then the affinity does drop down to a lower level, which is very bad. Did I? I guess I might have said that, but I'm talking about something else. No, you probably said you wanted us all to go fishing. So we went the next day, you, me, and Ryan. We caught the biggest fish. I'll never forget the size of it. Oh yeah, I remember now. Yeah, it was fun. We had a great time, didn't we? Shulk, you really forgotten all about it. Okay, so at least the affinity did go back up to maximum, which is nice. So, that's pretty good. I wanted to stay that way, at least between Shulk and Fiora. I just hope you remember one day. By the way, you actually have a different series of dialogue, or no, a different, shoot, what am I trying to say? The dialogue is different if you select the right answer versus the wrong answer. So, that is something worth bringing up. And of course, if you want to, you can always return to any fast travel point that you previously visited via the landmarks, just by pushing the Y button and select that particular location. When viewing a fast travel point, you can scroll with obviously the left analog stick. Also, hello, Dubious. Wow, okay.
Twitch Unity.
Wow, well, thank you for the resub, Dubious. I highly appreciate it. Anyway, welcome to the stream. I'm glad you were able to make it. So, what I was trying to say before was, you can obviously use the left analog stick to select any fast travel point, but you can also use the D-pad to do the same thing, and honestly, this is faster, for the most part, depending on what you're highlighting on the map, etc., etc. So, let's head back to the lab. Oh, looky here. Looks like Ryan's here.
Ryan?
Ryan, what are you doing?
Shulk! No, I'm just...
Uh-oh. Whoa, looks like the Monado has a mind of its own. Sweet Jesus. Ow! That's gotta hurt. Hope Fiora's okay.
Goodness.
Fiora, are you okay?
I'm fine.
It's broken.
What do you mean it's broken? Don't you care about me? I could have died.
You're not hurt, are you? The Monado can't cut people. More importantly, what were you thinking, Ryan?
Sorry, I came to ask a favor, but you weren't here. And I saw the Monado and...
I know I'm here a lot, but even I need fresh air sometimes. Is your body still feeling numb? We have to be very careful with the Monado. It's not a toy.
I know, man. I just wanted to touch it. Didn't know it would do that. Sorry. But is it true? The Monado really can't cut people?
The pattern in that circle. Or maybe it's a symbol. I think it shows which power the Monado has at the moment.
You think it's... a symbol?
Well, if I can find a way to increase the number of symbols, I should.
I'm sure that's all very clever. But why were you more worried about a machine than me, Shulk?
Well, I just explained why.
That's not the point.
Sorry.
Donk. Oh my, what's going on here?
Look at you, worthless without the Monado.
Until I've scrapped each and every one of you!
So, of course I want to get my revenge.
Your blade, it did not cut deep enough.
No!
Shulk! Shulk!
What on Bionis happened there?
Ryan. Fiora.
Are you okay? Does it hurt?
No. Ryan, when you held the Monado, did you see anything?
You know, like a blue blade made of light came out. Same as just now.
I don't mean that. A feeling like time had stopped, and then...
Time had stopped.
So, was it only me who saw that?
That sounds strange. Is it another Monado thing?
Who knows? Anyway, no matter how good a sword it is, that's what happens when you hold it. Looks like Dunban really is the only one who can use it.
I won't let my brother use it ever again. Not after what it did to him.
Oh, sorry. I didn't mean it like that.
Anyway, the point is I'm fine. To be honest, this has happened a few times before. I've been researching the Monado for a long time.
Shulk, don't act as if this is nothing.
Look, don't worry about it. Anyway, Ryan, what did you want to ask me about?
Oh, yeah. Old Square Tash has gone and put me on punishment duty. Fancy tagging along?
Punishment? The Colonel was pretty angry today. Did he hit you?
Well, whether he hit me is neither here nor there, really. Although, actually, he did end up hitting me. And that ain't all. He made me do 1,000 squats and sit-ups.
Whoa, nasty.
Yeah. And now I have to go all the way to the Magmal Ruins and back.
So you have to go and collect the ether cylinders?
That's the one. They're used to power the mobile artillery. Looks like the damage has been repaired. They can't move without the ether energy. And it seems like the fueling station's all out of stock.
Is the mobile artillery that big machine that crashed in the residential district?
Yeah, probably.
You know your way around there, right?
Yeah. Okay, I'll go with you.
Yeah. Knew you would.
Hold on. The Magmal Ruins are in Tephra Cave, right? I heard that there's a Mel lizard nest there. I couldn't take it if anything happened to Shulk. He's delicate. Not like you, Ryan.
What are you on about?
Exactly. He can
I'll
take
be
care of
fine.
himself.
I can take care of myself.
But...
Took the words right out of my mouth.
Okay, I got it. I'll make you a promise. Shulk won't even get a scratch.
a promise doesn't mean much coming from you.
Sheesh. Cold much?
She don't trust me at all.
Nah, she doesn't mean it.
Well, that was definitely a fun little experience. So, time to head out to Tephra Cave, which is going to be our next stop. I'll get Shulk to take a look at it. Oh, by the way, there is something else I yet to mention, and that is certain quests require you to have certain characters as the leader. Bad news about Desiree's watch. It's worse than I thought. I haven't got the right parts. I need 3 blue chains. Which I already have. Great, I can fix it now. Ha! It's working perfectly now. Desiree will be so glad. There we are. All fixed and ready to go. By the way, if certain quests are not available at a particular moment in time, then just change the time of day to the point of where you'll be able to interact with that NPC. So, it's literally as simple as that. It's actually pretty easy to guess which NPC you need to speak to and when. Like if, for example, there's something that's not available right now, you can change the time until it becomes available. Most of the time, that's how it works. There may be some exceptions here and there where you have to wait a bit, but even so, I figured I'd throw it out there. There we go. Another quest down and finished. So, anyway, I believe at this point now, maybe I can start this particular thing right here.
Who's there?
The look on your face looks like you've realized how great ether gems are. I suppose you want to try making a gem yourself. You're out of luck, I know how you feel, but you can't. The ether furnace is broken down. Oh, you don't look too bothered. Never mind, just try coming back later. Okay. I think it will become active again at a later point in the story. Though, not too much later, thankfully, but even so, I feel like throwing that out there regardless. Okay, time to switch to Rhine. It's Rhine time, baby! Also, what I find kind of hilarious is when you're jumping with certain characters, their jumping grunt effects is just hilarious. Like, so damn hilarious, it's not even funny. Like, do you hear Rhine's grunts every now and again? Good lord, it's definitely something else. Get wrecked. Okay, well that was pretty helpful. Almost said helpful. I don't even. So anyway, Rhine's playstyle is, he is the tank of the group. In other words, he's someone who will aggro any and all enemies within a given area and try to have them target him. So, time to take on this unique enemy right here. This is the Vernon Block. It's one of many unique enemies in the game, as you can tell by that glowing banner there. The glowing banner indicates an enemy is a rare enemy. I don't even know if that is a thing in the original Xenoblade Chronicles or not, but it's definitely a thing here, and it's something to be on the lookout for. So, when it comes to unique enemies in this game, regardless of what level you are, they will try to target you if you get within their range. So even if you're like Mr. Buff Boy at level 99 and this is a level 5 enemy right here, it'll still try to fight you. Alright, let's give it a whirl. So Rhine's talent art is Mad Taunt. What Mad Taunt will do after I wreck this thing's face in, hilarious. So anyway, as I was trying to say, what Mad Taunt does is that it will attract an enemy to a given location. Well, more or less, it will attract an enemy to Rhine, who is the person who is aggroing the enemy. Basically, Mad Taunt will increase the aggro of Rhine and all enemies around him for a short period of time, meaning enemies will try to target him more often. There is another thing I haven't mentioned yet, and that is the colored banners that you see around enemies here. The brown banners mean that an enemy is around your party leader's level. So, in other words, they'll deal normal damage and everything is fine. As far as blue banners are concerned, these are considered very weak enemies, and you can completely wreck their faces in very easily. And there's a level even lower than that that is black. Black means an enemy is so damn weak that you can basically breathe on them and kill them instantly. Well, maybe not instantly, but you basically get the idea. There is another level that we have yet to encounter, which is a yellow banner. That means that particular enemy is like 5 levels higher, or around a few levels higher than your current level. So those enemies are pretty dangerous, but depending on what the enemy is, they really shouldn't be too bad. However, if you encounter a red banner enemy, that enemy is considered extremely dangerous and you should run away from it at once. Or at least most of the time that is the case. As red banner enemies means that it basically has the opposite effect of the black banner. So you know how black banners, you're able to completely wreck an enemy space in and also have a lot more bonuses going for you against those particular kinds of enemies? Well, red banner enemies, they'll do that to you. So that's something to keep in mind. Ooh, pretty neat. Excuse me. So anyway, that's basically the banners in a nutshell. You can basically judge an enemy's strength just by looking at the colored banners, and you'll be able to decide whether or not it's worth fighting that particular enemy, or if it's a better idea just to simply run for the hills, or just ignore them altogether. Later on in the game, you'll encounter enemies that have different icons along with those banners. And I'll go over what those icons are at a later point in time as we encounter them. For now, most of the banners are just static, so in other words, these enemies will not engage you unless you engage them first. So, we don't need to worry about getting smacked unless it's a unique enemy. So, that's something worth mentioning.
You forgot something? You will be needing the transport cases, right?
Fiora.
I'm coming along as well. I'd feel better going with you boys than sitting at home worrying about you. So, let's get moving.
That makes sense. I wonder why she didn't even offer to do that in the first place.
She didn't trust me.
Looks like it.
So, with that done, Fiora now joins our party, and our party's basically all ready to go, ready to kick some ass, and just completely wreck some faces in. And of course, before we even do that, let's accept a few quests from the Defense Force soldier here. Believe it or not, he has multiple quests. It's kind of weird if you think about it, but believe me, it's kind of annoying how these people have multiple quests and you have to speak to them over and over again in order to get those quests to become available. And you have to accept each one in order to accept the next part of the quest. But even so, that's just part of the game. And honestly, I'm okay with it. It is kind of an annoyance, but so long as you don't see another exclamation point icon above that person's head, that means they don't have any other quests that you need to worry about at that point in time. Alright, let's view this next heart-to-heart. Enduring Friendship. Every time we come here, it brings back memories. Same for you, right? Yeah, we've been through a lot together, you and me. Oh yeah, you remember that time? You know, that one time? When Dunban told us off? No. Hold on a minute, Shulk. Be honest now, you're remembering it wrong. I am? Well, not wrong exactly, but that's not the important part, man. Think harder. What do you mean? You remember why he got angry with us, right? What was it again? I just can't remember, sorry. Shulk, you seriously telling me you forgot? I kinda remember us having a fight or something. That's the exact reason. And there's you saying you don't remember. She took one look at us going at it and she burst into tears. Is that what happened? I'm still a bit fuzzy on the details. But I do know that if we hadn't had that argument, we probably wouldn't be friends. You can say that again. Dunban was all angry and then you made a joke and we laughed. Oh, now I remember. Even Fiora got caught up in it. She started laughing even though she was still crying. It was great. Let's just make sure, we keep on laughing, even when we get on each other's nerves. Couldn't have put it any better myself. That's what being best friends is all about. Believe it or not, selecting the wrong answers like that actually counts towards an achievement called Heartbreaking. And funny enough, if you completely botch a heart-to-heart moment, then you'll get an achievement for it. However, it only applies to like one heart-to-heart. And that does count towards a achievement for the trials, I believe. If not, it's records. Let's see here. I believe it is trials. Yeah, here it is. Had a heart-to-heart to go as badly as possible, which is easy to do if you're not sure which answers are which. So, basically, there are two sort of achievements that kind of are polar opposites to each other. Heartbreaking, and there's also this one. Show your sweet and sensitive side in a heart-to-heart. Basically, this achievement unlocks when you get the correct answer for the entire heart-to-heart process. This is the opposite, where you get every single answer wrong. So, that's something worth mentioning. So, as far as the other heart-to-hearts are concerned, you just have to view more and more heart-to-hearts to unlock more of the trials. Just keep in mind, though, that if you view every single heart-to-heart and you don't get either one of these achievements, you'll miss out on them for your playthrough. So, what I recommend you do, if you're trying to go for a particular achievement within a heart-to-heart, I'd recommend saving progress and then view the heart-to-heart. If you select the right answer, great, move on. If not, return to the home menu, close the game, reload it, start again. And just keep going until you get the right answers. It's literally as simple as that. And the reason why I intentionally got all the wrong answers there was just solely for that achievement. Anyway, welcome to our next stop, Tephra Cave. So like I said, the Trials achievements do not carry over from playthrough to playthrough, but the Records achievements do.
Time for pain. I'm ready.
Get smacked. That's hilarious, but Ryan's weapon is considered to be a pretty powerful powerhouse, if you know what I mean. Ryan is all about power as well as defense. And that's basically his style of play. So, use it as you will. Get smacked.
I'm gonna go all out.
It's funny how I say this and I'm only level 7. And I can easily crank everyone's level up to level 99, with the exception of Fiora, of course. Oh, hello, we have a new banner enemy right here. This is the cellular bat bugworm. As you can see, it is level 10, so it's about a few levels higher than our party leader's current level. So, in other words, this thing's going to be putting up a bit of a fight. Like, more so than usual. And it also has another icon above its head, an eyeball. That means if it sees you and you get within its line of sight, it will start coming after you right away. So, that's something to keep in mind. Here we go. Time to get this started. Oh yeah, get smacked. Well, granted, Ryan's arts are incredibly strong, so that makes sense considering that all of his arts are maxed out from the previous playthrough. So, of course, his arts are gonna basically one-shot everyone, even at a low level. That's just Ryan and his ridiculous power. Plus, his weapon is also considered his best weapon in the game. At least, not so much cosmetically right now, but even so, I'm just saying. Also, even though some enemies may have an eyeball icon, the brown and black enemies will not target you. However, blue banner enemies and above, they will target you. So that's something worth mentioning right there. Also, I'm not too sure about... Dang it. Whatever, it's not a big deal. Anyway, you may have noticed certain weapons have gem slots. Depending on where you find the weapon, they can have anywhere from 1 to 3 slots, or none at all, worst case scenario. Basically, you want to find a weapon with which has 3 slots on it. Although that is kind of RNG dependent. Sometimes you may not find those things so easily, and other times it may take forever. It really depends. Goodbye! Okay, not just yet. Now you're dead. Ha! Funny. So, funny enough, when it comes to unique enemies in this game, they may end up dropping a pretty big, fat gold chest. And most of the time, they do just that. However, sometimes they might drop a silver chest. Then again, maybe I'm crazy, and that's not exactly it at all. Unique enemies always drop gold chests. However, what's inside is almost randomized from a particular pool of items that you can get your hands on. So, that's something to keep in mind. So, along with targeting an enemy with the R button, you could also do a couple of different other actions as well, which I haven't really gone over yet. So, as you can see, there's an enemy that's flying in the air right here. Okay, that wasn't what I wanted to do. If you target an enemy and you realize, oh shit, I've made a mistake, you can actually hit down on the D-pad and just run away from that enemy. Just keep in mind, if you're engaged in battle, you're going to have to run quite a distance in order to make it lose your tail. Also, hello, how are you today? Glad you were able to make it to the stream. Apologies, I can't quite read your name there. Also, I slipped and hit the wrong button. Well, whatever, it's no big deal. So, if an enemy is at a distance, and if it's in a part of a large cluster or a large group of enemies, you can obviously choose to ignore that. I mean, you can choose to lure an enemy by pushing down on the D-pad and selecting Lure. Doing so will lure an enemy towards your current vicinity, which that in itself has some tactical uses. However, that's good. I'm glad you were enjoying the playthrough. It was definitely a lot of fun playing through that game and even going for 100%. I'm kind of surprised it didn't take me as long to do that, as I remember it being a hell of a lot longer. Well, anyway, back to what I was saying. Luring enemies to you has its fair share of tactical uses. Upon using the lure command, you'll throw a stone to an enemy which deals 1 damage regardless of level. So, yeah, that's something worth mentioning. And another thing to keep in mind as well is that lure also has a chance to miss, which is annoying, especially when you're dealing with enemies who are extremely far away. Speaking of far away enemies, when you're luring an enemy to you, if you manage to initiate battle fast enough, you'll be able to get a battle start affinity as per usual, while also successfully luring the enemy over. Which, it's actually pretty easy to do, and the timing of that is just execute lure, and then immediately hit the A button again to initiate battle. It's as simple as that. Just keep in mind though that sometimes even luring enemies may not be enough, and you have to get extremely close in order to even execute the lure. Excuse me.
Are these the Magmal Ruins?
Haven't you been here before?
Nope.
The Defense Force often uses it for training, but I come here to do research. It's not really a place that people go.
Not surprising. There are monsters around here that use Mechon parts as armor.
To answer your question, my day's going just fine, thank you.
Was this built by the Mechon?
I don't think so. There's a path for people to get in. It might have been a vehicle of some kind.
Like the Defense Force hover transports.
A vehicle? But it's so big.
It's amazing technology. I wonder what kind of people made it.
I ain't got a clue.
Let's keep moving. The ether cylinders are up ahead.
Right.
Okay. Oh, hi. How y'all doing? Ready to dance? Ready to die? Boom! Honestly, playing through this game again and playing as all the different characters in the game, Ryan is definitely one of the most fun people I had the pleasure of playing as. That is for certain. Though, I feel the most comfortable playing as Shulk most of the time. That doesn't mean that I'm afraid to play as other characters, because I'm more than capable of playing as other characters. Hell, it's actually quite fun to show off playing as other characters and showing their abilities and what they can do. Alright, let's get ready to move on. First, there's this lovely room right here. In the original Wii release, if you happen to get a particular party member in a certain spot, you can glitch your way through this door, proceed to a later point in this particular dungeon, and with another series of moves, you'll be able to proceed or get yourself into a high-level area that you're normally not able to access until a later point in the game, like much later. And in the original Wii release, this was pretty damn difficult to do. However, with the Definitive Edition, that method has been patched out. But an even easier method of doing that particular trick, that was found shortly after the game's release, and it was executed at a different location. Sadly, this method has also been patched out as of recently. So, yeah, it's harder to pull off now, but I think it's still possible. But obviously, I don't need to show that for this particular playthrough because of the fact that, well, my party's already at level 99. So, believe it or not, this thing I'm talking about here and getting yourself into a high-level area much earlier than you're supposed to, while exploring that area, you'll get a ton of experience, basically getting the entire party up to at least level 50 before you even get your hands on a legendary weapon. As far as what that weapon is, you know which one it is. Oh, hi, how y'all doing? Prepare to die. Dead. Okay, maybe not dead yet. Okay, that was easy. I mean, duh. Its banner was relatively short anyway, so... So that's another unique monster down. By the way, when you defeat a unique monster, you'll get yourself what is known as a Affinity Coin, I think? So, Affinity Coins are used to link skills from one person to another. And it's quite interesting to see, and see how that works. However, we don't have access to skill links right now, and will become unlocked at a later point in time. And also, I do see that you enjoy speedruns of Super Mario 64. Yes, Super Mario 64 speedruns are quite entertaining, depending on the category. I've no interest in speedrunning Super Mario 64, but, I still find them enjoyable to watch. Alright, let's head into the cylinder hangar.
Right here. Thanks for the help, Shulk. I'll start collecting them up. You two hold on a sec.
It's full of ether cylinders. Hey, why do we have to come all the way here to get them? Isn't there an ether cylinder fueling station in the colony?
Well, refining the ether takes a long time down there, and sometimes cylinderization fails. And there are so many cylinders here for us already. It's more reliable than making them ourselves.
Right. And Colony 9's anti-air batteries and mobile artillery are standardized for these cylinders, so they can be used straight away.
I see. You know, this place is in good condition considering it's ancient.
It might be that there's some form of technology being used to preserve it. It's just a shame we don't understand its secret.
Shulk?
But I'll solve it one day and show you. If it's just technology that someone created in the past, it's not incomprehensible. We'll come to understand it one day.
Don't go trying too hard. We can come and get ether cylinders whenever we need them. Besides, it's a good place for Defense Force training.
Yeah, so good that you didn't even want to come here without Shulk to back you up. Anyway, did you collect the cylinders?
Yep, all done. Thanks.
Just come by yourself from now on.
Shh, be quiet.
Are they Mechon?
I don't know. But it looks like we'll have to destroy them.
In that case, just leave them to me.
Well, this definitely looks quite a predicament. Anyway, these things shouldn't be too hard to take down. Boom. That one's dead. On to the next one.
Fiora, are you okay?
I'm fine. How about you?
I'm alright. Thanks to you and Ryan.
What on Bionis were those? I've never seen anything like them.
Could they have been Mechon?
No. I think they were something left by the civilization that built this vehicle.
They didn't seem like Mechon to me. But why did they only show up now?
I don't know. But they were probably built to protect this place. They might have been activated in response to something. But I don't think that something could have been us.
Please, let's go back. I don't want to be here anymore.
Me neither. And we've already got the ether cylinders.
Sounds like a plan to me.
What's going on?
Listen, what is that?
That sound. In the sky!
Whoa! What the hell is that?
Oh, it's a...
This can't be.
No way.
It's Mechon. But
Mechon!
how can that be?
Didn't my brother destroy them all a year ago?
Could that defense mechanism have responded to the Mechon?
Let's get back to the colony.
Come on.
Sounds like a good idea to me. So, at this point, now it's considered chapter complete. So, that's pretty interesting. Speaking of chapters, I haven't really mentioned this yet, but Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition basically took different parts of the game and divided them into 17 chapters. That, I believe, was chapter 1.
This siren, it sounds different.
Yeah, isn't this siren too?
It can't be. The Mechon.
One large Mechon! 10 carriers! And an unknown number of units emerging from the carriers!
You idiots! Why didn't you see this lot till they were right on top of us?
But sir, we thought the Mechon had all been wiped out!
Oi! What's happening? Respond! Anti-air batteries 1 to 3. Why aren't my targeting systems online? Don't let a single one into the colony! Assemble everyone who can fight. Evacuate the civilians to the shelter. Get a move on! Sir. Fire at will!
We got it!
Nope.
No, wait! What the? Our weapons don't work on them at all!
Oh boy.
What type of Mechon is that? I've never seen one like it.
You slackers, fire! Shoot it down!
That's definitely a different looking Mechon, that's for sure. What's so strange about it is that it has a face. A metal face, if you will. Well, that definitely doesn't look good. Oh boy. So, if you pass certain story triggers in this game, then you may... no. What will happen is the ability to fast travel will be disabled temporarily until you reach a particular destination and progress the story further. I'm just saying, fast traveling may be disabled right now, but after we pass a particular point, we will be able to fast travel again. Just keep in mind, though, that it will take a bit of time before that happens. Okay, before we move on, let's see if we can maybe work on another quest or something. That'd be actually pretty good. Okay, that was something. So, one other thing worth mentioning here is that the lure tactic of luring enemies over, it's extremely useful when fighting enemies that are swimming around in the water. As if you go too deep into the water, you'll immediately begin swimming. And you can't exactly fight enemies while you're swimming, now can you? No, you can't. You're just gonna get killed immediately. Okay, not immediately, but very, very quickly. You basically get the idea. So, in order to fight enemies that are swimming around the water, you do have to get close enough to use the lure command and then immediately start fighting them. So, one other thing I haven't mentioned yet, when it comes to unique monsters, upon defeating them once, if you return to an area where that unique monster was, they have a 30% chance to spawn again, and you can choose to fight them once more. However, this only applies after you defeated that unique monster once. If you defeated them in the prior playthrough and then start New Game Plus, they'll all respawn again, allowing you to fight them again as you see fit. So, that's something worth mentioning. Okay. There is one other thing I haven't mentioned yet, and that there is a new option besides Expert Mode that you can choose to enable. And this new option is under Game Settings. This is known as Casual Mode. When enabled, combat will be easier. So basically, this setting, if you find the game to be a bit too difficult, you can turn on Casual Mode and make the game that much easier if you so wish. Believe it or not, I believe that is a speedrunning category for this game. But, of course, I'm not going to be turning on Casual Mode ever. Just saying. That's just not my style. Oh, damn! Things definitely don't look good here. They're eating them! And then they're gonna eat me! Oh my god!
They're eating people.
It's horrible.
Is Dunban okay?
Fiora, go and check on him.
Oh, okay.
Heads up, Ryan.
If this thing wants a fight, let's give it one.
So, welcome to the fight against the Mechon. The Mechon are very interesting enemies. When you're first playing through this game, you're basically taught that in order to deal damage to Mechon without the use of the Monado, you have to topple them first. In order to make them topple, you have to first break them with a break art of some kind. Afterwards, you then have another party member execute a topple art, in which case you'll then be able to start dealing damage to Mechon. But upon New Game Plus, you don't need to worry about that at all, because Shulk can just wreck face, no problem.
See? Didn't stand a chance.
It's not that easy. We've disabled it, but only for now. It'll reactivate soon. Where's Dunban?
He's gone. I can't find him anywhere.
What? He ain't fit enough to face these things.
Ryan, let's get to the lab.
The lab? Of course. The Monado's there.
Exactly. The Monado can take out Mechon.
Oh boy. To think that Dunban would try to wield the Monado again, especially this soon. But what choice does he have? I mean, really? I mean, it seems as though he's the only one who can wield the Monado. Also, at this point in time, the game does tell you that running away is a very legit tactic that really should be employed at this point in time. Since, technically speaking, Shulk and Ryan can't damage Mechon on their own without toppling them first, running away is not a bad idea. And honestly, you should anyway.
You blasted Mechon! You think you can do what you want in our colony?
The Colonel! The guys!
Men, don't give up this position! Yes, sir! Run and I'll kill you myself!
Hello there, big boy. Want to play?
What the hell are you? A Mechon with a face? Grin at me, will you? What? Didn't even dent it!
Oh dear. Well, Colonel's dead. Who's gonna run KFC now? Kidding. Believe it or not, he actually survives that. Although, as far as the rest of the crew is concerned, I don't think they're gonna be as lucky. We better get in there and try to do something like ASAP. Otherwise, everyone is going to die.
The Colonel! The guys! I'm gonna destroy every last one of those damn Mechon!
Shulk, the entrance.
No shit.
We'll never get in there now.
Wait. Let me think here. Huh. Ryan, Fiora. There's still the mobile artillery.
Right. If we recharge it with those ether cylinders we collected, we can blast our way in.
It's in the residential district.
Great.
All right. This is it. Time to avenge the Colonel and the boys.
Sounds like a plan to me. Time to charge in like raging bulls and possibly break into the lab. Or so we would think. You'll soon see what I mean. Oi there.
What the?
Shulk! More from behind!
Ryan, looks like you and I will have to cut a path through them.
Looks like it.
Fiora, Ryan and I will open up a path. Then you can run through.
You two can't do this by yourselves. I want to fight as well.
Get through. We'll be right behind you.
But Shulk...
A year ago, Dunban and the Defense Force fought hard to protect the colony and all of us Homs. Now it's our turn to repay them.
Please, Fiora.
Shulk... Ryan...
Don't look so worried. We'll just get rid of these ones. Shulk won't get a scratch.
Okay, I believe you.
Seems like Fiora's a fan of just a pancake.
Ryan,
Huh?
you take care too.
Of course! Looks like she trusts me after all.
I told you.
Oh boy. Well, this is definitely going to be a fun time. So, I believe at this point, the game tells you how you're supposed to target multiple enemies at once. You can do so very easily by pushing the R or L button on the Switch controller.
That was a close one.
You were never cut out for this stuff. You go. I'll take care of things here.
You're too out of breath to persuade me.
Tell me about it.
Oh boy. Great. Just great.
Behind you!
Get out of here!
Shulk, don't be stupid! Hold on!
Well, look over here. It's Dunban, aka Duncan. Gotta love IGN.
Sorry I kept you waiting.
Dunban!
Whoa, yeah! The Monado!
So this is why you weren't at home. I thought so.
This is what I was waiting to see. Ready, lads?
Oh boy. So technically speaking, Dunban does join the party temporarily, and he's supposed to be wielding the Monado here. And funny enough, he actually has shoot. I thought for sure he would have the Monado as a cosmetic weapon, but not at this point in time. So technically speaking, funny, that's supposed to be Dunban's line.
Nice one, Dunban. You didn't waste any time on them Mechon.
Shulk, where's Fiora?
The residential district. We said we'd meet her there.
Looks like we'll have to take the long way round.
All right, then we cut through the commercial district.
Yes.
As I've mentioned before, Dunban is supposed to be the one in control of the Monado here, and as you can see, his level is level 99, which is the level of which he would normally be at if he wasn't in expert mode. However, for whatever reason, at this point in time, his level cannot be adjusted, which is going to be kind of fun. kind of fun watching him just completely wreck everyone around him. Just saying. So, again, as I was saying before, Dunban is supposed to be the one in control of the Monado here. But because this is New Game Plus, that's not the case here. So instead, Shulk for whatever reason has the Monado, even though he technically doesn't. Again, it's really weird. Gotta love continuity errors, but again, Dunban's talent art is supposed to be the Monado arts of which Shulk has here. In order to damage the Mechon, what you need to do is charge up the talent gauge for Dunban at this point in time and not so much Shulk, and then immediately after execute the talent art for the Monado and activate Enchant. What Enchant will do is that any normal attacks that normally don't damage Mechon suddenly will be able to do so for a limited period of time, or until the battle ends. And at max level, the amount of enchantment time is increased exponentially. So that's actually pretty damn nuts if you think about it. And that's not the only Monado art that Shulk has. One other thing I haven't mentioned yet is that another Monado art that you start with, which Dunban is supposed to be the one to be able to use, is Monono Buster. It deals a metric shit ton of damage, but it should only really be used as a means of finishing off an enemy or dealing a ton of damage if you're absolutely desperate. So, excuse me, that's something else worth mentioning. Another thing worth mentioning here is that Monado Enchantment will not only allow users who normally cannot damage Mechon to be able to do so, but it will also temporarily increase their damage output towards Mechon. So, let's say for example, a person's minimum damage value is 1500 damage. So, with Monado Enchantment, it will then increase that effect exponentially. So, it'll make it so everyone can deal a high amount of damage within a very short period of time. So, that's something worth mentioning right there. And again, Dunban is supposed to be the one who's wielding the Monado right now, but again, New Game Plus, Shulk is the one who wields it. And he's not supposed to be the one to wield the Monado until very shortly. I don't mean to spoil the game, but that's just the way it is in New Game Plus. Confusing much? I know, yes. But it's something we kind of have to deal with just for a little bit. And don't worry, I am going to be changing out the Junk Sword. Which, believe it or not, the Monado of which Dunban is supposed to be wielding right now, it's going to be handed over to their successor.
Dunban! You can't take any more of the Monado!
But I must! I don't have a choice!
Ooh, damn!
Ryan's right. You can't go on like this.
Shulk!
Dunban.
Hey!
This time, it's my turn.
Shulk! No! It'll kill you! Shulk!
That's it, Shulk, my boy. Fight through the pain!
What's happening?
What the?
Kind of interesting to see that Shulk somehow saw that coming. And again. Ooh.
Wow, Shulk's pretty awesome.
How could this be? Shulk is using the Monado.
What was that? Shulk, more company.
Rhine.
Right. Right, Dunban. I got your back.
Shulk, do you feel all right?
I'm okay, but there was something strange. Just now, it was as if I could see into the future. Is this another power of the Monado? See into the future? What are you saying?
Are you certain, Shulk?
Yes.
I see. I remember Dixon saying that the Monado had a hidden power. Could this be it? What?
Don't think about it now. Just believe what the Monado showed you and fight.
Got it!
So, this, at this point in time, introduces a new sort of mechanic within this game. Being able to see into the future. So, Shulk, so long as he is in the party, whether it be active or inactive, he can now see into the future depending on the fight. Depending on what the enemy is planning on doing, you may get visions of the future. And you can actually plan accordingly. Depending on what the enemy is doing, you can increase defenses, you can deal a whole bunch of damage so that way you kill everyone right away. Or you can even just simply... shoot. I'm not sure what else I was trying to say. Basically, now that Shulk can see into the future, I think this means that he can... I think this also means that the whole vision mechanic becomes unlocked. Then again, I think it's supposed to unlock at a later point in time, but regardless though, it is something worth mentioning. Also, you may notice this bar on the top left-hand corner here. That is known as the party gauge. The party gauge, I believe, becomes unlocked like very, very shortly, but upon starting New Game Plus, it's available right away. However, you don't get access to a particular unique action until just now. That is what is known as a chain attack. Chain attacks will allow you to execute arts however you see fit for each individual character. And depending on the affinity strength between the active party, you'll be able to increase your chances of executing additional arts with those people. So... basically, the higher the affinity, the higher chance you'll be able to continue the chain attack. You're guaranteed to execute 3 separate moves, one for each character, during any given chain attack, no matter what. So, again, the higher chances of the higher your affinity between the active party, the higher the chances will be that you'll be able to get some additional actions. So, that's something else worth mentioning. Let's see what we got here. You'll be able to figure out whether or not it's time to execute a chain attack or not by listening to an audio cue. Most of the time when you charge up the party gauge, the party will more or less tell you, hey, now's perfect for a chain attack. However, the party gauge can also have a few other uses besides executing a chain attack. And that is, if a party member becomes incapacitated, in other words, if their HP drops to 0, you can expend 1 bar of the party gauge to revive that particular party member. And also, one other use is that if you have a vision with Shulk and you run up to a party member, you can expend 1 bar of the party gauge to warn that particular party member of an upcoming attack. And you'll be able to execute any of their arts with the exception of the talent art. Whatever their talent gauge is at that point in time is what it is when you warn them of an upcoming attack. Again, that's not exactly the most useful thing around, but it depends on who you warn and when.
Whoa!
That's a big boy.
He's massive!
That Mechon,
It has a face! That don't mean nothing!
that's right. Not when we have the Monado.
Or so you would think. So, unlike other Mechon here, this particular Mechon here can only be damaged by toppling it, much like the regular Mechon. Even with the Monado's power, you would normally not be able to deal damage to Metalface at this point. But, on New Game Plus, that's not a
The
factor.
Monado! It's not working! Oi! What do you mean?
How can that be? The Monado should cut through Mechon with ease.
What is that light? Other Mechon don't have that. Could that light be why the Monado has no effect?
Shoot! Right! Get down! Stay back! I'll take it from here.
No! You can't take any more!
Everyone, get away right now!
Fiora!
Ah!
Oh boy. Another vision. Oh shit.
What did I just... Fiora! Get back!
I won't let you hurt any more people. We will save Colony 9!
Fiora! Get out of here! Run!
You want more?
Damn! Point blank cannon shot to the face. Even with armor as strong as that, that has to put a dent in it. Right? Well, no.
Fiora!
Oof. Damn, that's gotta hurt. Damn. Oof. Lord have mercy. Poor Fiora. She definitely did not deserve to die like that.
I'll kill you!
God, that is so chilling. And at this point now, I believe this is when you're supposed to execute the chain attack, or at very least learn about it and how it works. When executing a chain attack, even large enemies such as Metalface here, you can topple him very easily by means of executing the right moves at the right time.
Leave it to me. Final push. Right.
Shulk!
hell is going on here? Why aren't you finishing us off, you idiot? What the... Where the hell are you going?
Get back here! No!
Fiora.
Ah, the breeze feels so good.
Yeah. I'd forgotten what it feels like. I never thought it could be so quiet here.
You're spending too much time with Ryan. You're getting used to all the noise he makes.
Yeah, maybe.
It's so peaceful. You know, Shulk, I hope every day can be like this, always.
Hey. Have you been to see Dunban?
Yeah.
I just can't do it. You got more guts than me.
Not at all. It was him that consoled me.
Oh. I guess that's the type of guy he is.
Yeah. Even without the Monado, he's the strongest person I know.
Shulk, how are you holding up?
I'm fine, but... you...
I will shed no tears.
Huh?
A year ago, I felt the same sense of deep loss that I do now.
The Battle of Sword Valley.
After that battle, many of my friends did not make it home. While I was being brought here on that stretcher, they were all I thought about. But I decided I would not cry. Everyone who died in that war had something they wanted to protect. Family, friends, loved ones, their home. So they fought to protect them. And we won. No matter how painful, no matter how hard, it's nothing to be sad about. I decided that there and then.
Dunban.
Shulk, Fiora would tell you the same thing. She wanted to protect us. Or rather, she wanted to protect you. And you're alive now. So, I will not cry.
Okay.
Remember the gift of life that Fiora gave you, and treasure it.
I can't say that I understand. But I hope to. Someday.
That is all I ask. Believe me, I'm always just trying to understand.
Treasure the gift of life that Fiora gave you. He's one of a kind, that Dunban.
I've made a decision.
Huh?
My purpose in life. I will pursue that faced Mechon.
Shulk.
They attacked our colony. Killed Fiora. I will find that Mechon. Find it and destroy it. Destroy them all. What are you laughing at?
Sorry. It's just a bit weird. I never thought you'd be the one to say it.
So you agree?
Course, man. I'm just surprised you came out with it first.
You thought I'd try and talk you out of it? That's not what Fiora would want. That sound right?
Yeah. Something like that. I thought you'd give me a hard time.
In my head, there are two versions of me. One of them is saying that. It's telling me, listen to what Dunban said.
What about the other one?
It keeps shouting, make them pay, destroy every single one of them, and it won't stop getting louder.
That doesn't sound like you. Sure it ain't my voice in there.
Might be. It's a bit of a loudmouth.
There you go then. So, when are we heading off?
Right now.
Perfect. Right then.
Yeah.
Look after yourselves, boys. As soon as this heals, I'll be right behind you. And then we will seize our destiny. Together.
Seems Dixon was very well aware of what's happening here. Kind of a shame he didn't really do much of anything to try to prevent it. But...
No! Huh?
What's that smirk all about? It's as if Dunban, not Dunban, but Dixon planned this all along. Know what I mean? Don't spoil the events to come. Just saying. I've already done that enough.
It's all very well going after that metal-faced Mechon. But shouldn't we have some kind of plan?
How about checking out Colony 6?
Colony 6? The only other Homs colony left.
Colony 6 is on the way to Sword Valley, where there's supposed to be a Mechon base. If that's where they came from, maybe the people in Colony 6 saw something.
Good point. They might even know something about that metal-faced Mechon. So, we go past the Magmal Ruins and up through Tephra Cave. Then we should arrive at the Bionis knee.
Yeah. And if we can get to the knee, it ain't far to Colony 6, right?
Sounds like a plan. Let's head to Colony 6.
Anyway, after that traumatic experience, before we head on off to Colony 6, there's some new quests available now. And honestly, it may not be a bad idea to take these quests on. And as we progress through the game, more and more quests will become available. Curry's gonna be infamous. That doesn't sound good. Dance apples. Gives it flavor, eh? Fair enough. Okay, here you go. Already have the dance apples for you. More than needed for the quest.
Hey.
By the way, certain quests may require you to return to the quest giver in order to complete the quest. So that's something to keep in mind. Also, you may notice that depending on who's in your active party, you'll be able to build up affinity with other party members as you're doing quests, which is pretty important, and it's something to keep in mind for sure. So depending on who you're trying to build affinity with, it might be a good idea to switch out particular party members and get them paired up with others, just to build up the affinity between the two members together. Just keep in mind, though, that with me, I've already maxed out the affinity between my entire party, so that's nothing to worry about there. So at least there's that. This doesn't seem too difficult. Okay, that's perfectly fair, honestly. It really is.
Hi there.
Also, I don't remember if I spoke to Sonia or not, but Okay, I guess not. Alrighty then. Well, that's good to know. Glad that I was able to speak to another named NPC, which really is definitely worth speaking to for sure. Alright. Alright. Hello there. Aww. That doesn't sound good indeed. No one in the residential district can fix your pendant, eh? That sounds like a perfectly fair plan. Okay, that's not too difficult. Alrighty.
Who's there?
Wonders of gems. Ooh, cool, the furnace is fixed. So, at this point now, after the events of the Colony 9 attack by the Mechon and Fiora's unfortunate demise, now we can use the Ether Furnace to make ourselves some nice gems. And each gem is divided into a different category. Basically, the higher the value category that you have for materials, the better the gem will be after you finish. So, for now, I'm just going to go ahead and focus on getting muscle up for now, since I have the cylinders necessary to do so. Actually, I would like to show off something else instead. In order to make a cylinder, first you need to get enough materials to make it so a particular value is close to 100%, but not quite at 100%. So, I think, let's go with that. Anything else before I reach the 100% threshold? Nothing else, really. Alright, that ought to work. So, basically, as soon as you start this, you have to choose who's going to be the shooter and who's going to be the engineer. Each person excels at one particular thing versus the other. So, with Shulk as the shooter, he'll get into fever easily while crafting, while Rhine as the shooter, his qualities grow stronger with a strong flame. So, deciding on who's the shooter and who's going to be the engineer really isn't too difficult to figure out. When you're first starting out, the number of turns, the number of craft turns, they range depending purely on your party's affinity between the shooter and the engineer. So at max affinity, the craft turns can turn as little as 10 times or as much as 15 times. However, at lower affinities, it is much less than that. So that's something to keep in mind when gem crafting. So let's go with this and confirm.
I'm all
I've got
over
it.
that.
Alrighty, there we go. Nice one. To you, to me.
So there's three different kinds of flames that a person can get when you're gem crafting. A strong flame means that the gem's strength will increase as time goes on, while a gentle flame will make it so you can convert gems that don't quite reach the 100% mark into cylinders. A gentle flame will increase this value. However, a medium flame I think is more balanced. I'm not 100% sure, but regardless, we got the cylinder up to make it so we can make one of these things into a cylinder, which we can use for future use. While all the remaining percentages, unfortunately, we lose them. The cylinder can go as high as 9. And as soon as you're done, you can just do it again, or just continue to make gems. Since I already have some really powerful gems equipped to my weaponry as is, and even in my inventory in general, there's really no need for these lower grade gems, honestly. And by the way, you can speed this up at any time by simply holding down the A button. And honestly, this is a godsend. Because, let me tell you, when you're gathering gems like this, trust me, it's gonna be quite tedious.
I'm all over that.
So, one pretty neat thing is if a gem value exceeds 200%, it then becomes a higher ranked gem. And that means it went into a heat. If it reaches 300% or more, it becomes a mega heat. So mega heat gems means that it will not only increase the value of that particular gem from its current grade to the next grade up, but it would also split in half. More or less split into two separate gems. So if I would have gotten a mega heat with a muscle up, it would not only have became a muscle up 2, but it would have also split into 2 muscle up 2s with the highest value possible for that particular muscle up gem. However, a regular heat is not the end of the world. It is really damn good, and oddly enough, it is the only way to increase the value of a gem from 5, which is the highest you can get, up to 6. Creatures drop the ether crystals, but the Bionis got some and all. What they call ether deposits. Keep an eye out for them. At any rate, the Bionis ether crystals loaded with power. You don't look too excited. That's because I already have a whole bunch of ether crystals all ready to go, ready to be equipped at any time. Which, at this point now, I'm definitely going to be doing so with Shulk's Monado. Although, first off, I am going to accept this quest. Afterwards, I'll go ahead and equip some very sweet gems. So, any gems that you've acquired throughout the course of the game, you can sort any gem that you got. By default, its categories are set to all, and you can sort by most recent, name, rank, favorite, and highest sale price. You can also change the category of what kind of gem that you can view, from all to weapon gems, armor gems, equipment gems, attributes: attack, meaning the highest attack value, the highest defense value, the best support-based abilities, and field-based abilities, which is pretty nice. Although, for me, I keep my sorting set to all and sort them by rank, as I find this is the most easiest for me to have everything set this way. So let's go ahead and equip some nice gems here. Each of these gems have a different value associated with them, such as simply increasing strength to increasing a weapon's power output, increasing the amount of HP you can give back to a party member upon reviving them, increasing initial tension value, and you can even get gems that increase the experience gained for defeating enemies. And the highest value is an experience up 6, which is an increased value of 75%. Believe it or not, you can actually stack multiples of the same ability up until you reach a cap, which I'll get into probably in a little bit. For now, I'm just going to go ahead and go through these gems and see what it is I can work with here. Let's see. By the way, certain gems can only be equipped to certain pieces of equipment. Weapon gems are literally just that, weapon gems. They can only be equipped to weapons with weapon slots, or gem slots. As far as other types of gems, those are basically gems that you can equip to a particular piece of armor, accessory, etc., etc. You may notice some weapons are highlighted in a pink box. These pink boxes mean that that particular piece of armor has a weapon gem automatically attached to it, and you cannot remove that. So that's just the way it is. However, you may notice some other weapons that have a gray box around them. That means that particular thing doesn't have a a gem slot, while ones with a blue one tend to have one or more slots. When it comes to armor, they always have one slot. However, weapons, such as Ryan's Atomic Driver, for example, it has up to 3 slots. Some weapons have only 1 slot, others have 2, and finally the best ones you can get your hands on have 3 slots. You always want to try to aim for weapons that have 3 slots, always. And always try to equip a weapon that has, I would try to equip a weapon that has at least 1 weapon slot at all times, unless that weapon is substantially weaker than your current weapon, in which case you may just have to deal with the fact that you may not be able to equip a weapon gem, not until you get your hands on the same weapon or a better weapon with a gem slot or multiple gem slots. So let's see here. I think I'll go ahead and equip Auto Attack Stealth 6 here. And as far as what else to equip, let's see. Let's see. Going through all your different gems and everything, it can take a bit of time to figure out like what will best be fit for a given situation. You know what, let's go for... Hang on. I think I got a better version of that particular gem I was thinking of equipping. That gem I was thinking of equipping is known as Double Attack. Double Attack gems don't come into play until a little bit later in the game, but regardless, equipping them will grant the ability to attack twice within a single auto attack. And the chances of that increases when you stack multiple gems of the same kind. Or more or less the same, same kind, but even if it's multiple ranks. So, let's see. I meant to switch back to stat details, not so much switch characters. Let's see. Here we go. Okay, this ought to be pretty good when it comes to stats. And as you can see, the double attack stat has been highlighted in green. That means that particular attribute has maxed out. Attaching multiple or more gems to increase the effect further is unnecessary, and it's basically just a waste of a slot. So that's something to keep in mind. And it seems that Ryan's gems have also been unequipped, which is kind of lame. For some reason I was thinking that any weapon gems that you had equipped in your prior playthrough will automatically be equipped. It appears that that's not the case when it comes to weapons. Accessories are different. Then again, maybe I'm just plain crazy. Let's increase Topo Plus. That ought to be good. Let's see what's next. Perhaps a Strength up 6 ought to be good for Ryan on slot number 2. Hell yeah. Funny enough, I can actually increase the strength up to as high as 150. Which honestly is not a bad idea for Ryan. So let's go with that. By the way, you can view the stat details of what each gem is going to do to your stats by hitting ZL or ZR to switch between item details and stat details. Again, something to keep in mind when you're not only crafting gems, but equipping them from one character to another. So, that's something to keep in mind. That's kind of funny. By the way, another function that was added to Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition I haven't mentioned yet is that you can pull up a transparent map by pushing in the left analog stick. At any time, just pushing that in will give you a nice transparent map of the entire area that you're in. So even if areas have not yet been discovered, you can pull up this map at any time and look at that. You get a much better view of the entire area and everything else in between.
Hi there.
You're looking unusually serious. Something up? You know, you can always count on me, Shulk. Tell me what's wrong.
Hi there.
I got something to ask. I need you to fix a pendant that a boy named Rocco broke. I usually just tell people to sort out their own problems, but I suppose he's just a kid. Okay, I'll take a look at it. I can fix this in no time. Hold on a moment. Here, good as new. Rocco. That name sounds familiar. Isn't he Sonia's little boy? Yeah, that's him. Make sure you say it was me who fixed it. That's all the thanks I need. Sure thing, my dude. Okay. I do note that there is a quest over here that's available now. Definitely worth getting our hands on it before we head out. That's for sure. And it's also not a bad idea to explore around a bit, too. Find Miller. That shouldn't be too hard. Okay, that's pretty neat. Okay. Alright, that shouldn't be too hard. You're welcome. So this is going to be a bit of an interesting quest, considering that we have to find someone within the commercial district.
Hey.
Thankfully, that shouldn't be too hard. Also, the reason why I spoke to him right there was just so that way I can add him to the Affinity Chart. Aw, that's cute. That's quite an ambitious dream. Here's hoping things work out for you, little buddy.
Hello?
Okay. Now then, next stop, we're gonna head over here because, of course, we have another exclamation mark. Which, again, if you're playing the original game, you kind of have to run around like a headless chicken. Especially when trying to find certain named NPCs for quest lines. It was a major pain in the ass. But it's definitely made a hell of a lot easier in this version of the game, for sure. Also, the quality of life improvements that I keep mentioning here, they were not applied to the 3DS release. So that's something to keep in mind. Speaking of the 3DS release of Xenoblade Chronicles, believe it or not, that's one of the very few games on the Nintendo 3DS that can only be played on the new line of 3DS systems, whether it be the new 3DS, new 3DS XL, or the new 2DS XL.
Oh, hi.
Excuse me, I'm just saying. Glad everything worked out here. Also, get used to hearing, or more or less reading, those pieces of dialogue between your party members often. And I mean often, as they tend to appear more often than they should. Just saying. Alrighty then. Apologies for swinging the camera around like that. I was trying to figure out where the hell it is I was supposed to go. Sounds like you got a problem. What's going on here? Flowers got crushed during the attack. Aww. Okay. So this quest shouldn't be too hard. Just bring her some flowers. And again, this is another one of those quests that if you have the items already, you do have to return to the quest giver in order to progress the quest line, or more or less finish it. So that's something to keep in mind here.
What is it?
I wasn't sure if I added him to my Affinity Chart or not yet, so that's why I stopped and spoke to him. Oh dear. Strongest and hottest. Kill a dragon. She's not wrong. Oh dear, that's quite a falling out. Street cred? Really? That's what you're worried about? Okay. So, this particular quest is a bit of an interesting one. This one you have to raise your affinity between Shulk and Rhine, and also across a couple of other people too. This one has to be done over time, and this will take quite a long time to complete, so don't worry about completing this quest right away. However, on New Game Plus, you can finish this right away and get a truckload of experience to boot. And also some sweet items as well. Definitely very handy to have for early game for sure, but again, it's one of those things where you have to work on it over time. So that's something to keep in mind. Okay, let's see. Right, I wanted to look at quests. Let's see here. Here we go. Biscuits for grandson. As you can see, this particular quest I'm currently tracking, this person's currently inactive. So what that means is that no matter where I go, I won't be able to find him. So what I have to do here in order to get him to show up is change the time. Which I can do so very easily from the menus. And basically, you just have to change the time until you're able to successfully find the person you're looking for, speak to them, change the time again, and just keep going. That was easy enough. And that wasn't even the quest I was working on. It's an entirely different quest. But still, definitely worth doing regardless. Hello, what do we have here? Some additional quests have opened up. What's really funny is that when you complete one quest, many, many more will open up.
Hey.
Almost in a chain of sorts. That doesn't look good. Ugh. Oh my. Well, that does make sense. So, with this particular quest, it actually can branch off between one or two paths. Each of them lead to a different conclusion. So, for this one, we need to convince Giorgio or consult with a relative in order to proceed with the quest. So, again, choose either or.
Hey.
And depending on what conditions that you meet for the first part of the quest, a different part of the quest line opens up. So, that's something worth mentioning. And by the way, once you close or choose one particular path within that particular quest line, the other path becomes unavailable for the remainder of the playthrough. So, that's something to keep in mind. But really, it's not that bad if you really think about it. So, feel free to experiment and figure out what best course of action to take. Just purely on the choices of which people will say, and what you see via visions. So, with certain quests, you may have noticed some quests actually have a vision attached to it. And depending on what you see, you'll be able to figure out what the course of events are going to happen, or what has happened in the past. I think that's how it's supposed to work. But, even so, your visions will be able to tell you if, or at least they'll give you an indication of if that particular quest has branching storylines, or a branching path within the quest line itself. So, I guess that could be used as a good indicator of whether or not it has a split or not. But I really wouldn't worry too much about it, unless it's determining someone's fate, in which case, you better be careful of what choices you make. Otherwise, that person who you may speak to, you may never see him again. So, that's something worth mentioning.
Come and see.
Ha! Cute. So, this particular quest right here, sadly, it can't be completed right away. Even if you maxed out the affinity of 2 female party members at a later point in time, they have to be in your party in order for the quest to be considered finished. Finished. Just saying. Otherwise, it's just simply not going to count. Let me tell you, that's not exactly what we call fun. What's wrong? Oh, that doesn't sound good. Oh dear. That doesn't sound fun. Alright, that shouldn't be too hard. Alright. So this particular quest really isn't anything too scary to worry about. Although we are going to be going into an area where there are several high-level enemies. But, funny enough, if you know what you're doing, you can sneak around these high-level enemies and just proceed forward. Or if a quest demands that you get around certain high-level enemies, you'll be able to do so, not necessarily like Metal Gear Solid style, but pretty damn close to it. And that is something to keep in mind, especially for later. So, yeah. Something worth mentioning regardless. And you may be wondering, where the hell am I going now? Well, I'm heading up here on the Anti-Air Battery 3 because, believe it or not, there's actually a unique monster that can appear here. Although, it doesn't look like it's here. Well, shoot. So that's the thing with unique monsters. Sometimes they'll be roaming around the field like it's their average everyday form of life. However, others, you have to meet a certain requirement in order to get them to show up. And there are even more unique monsters that only show up under particular weather. Believe it or not, weather's not really a thing right now that you need to take into account. However, despite this, weather does play a role, but I don't think weather will really come into play right now until we reach our first major destination, which is going to be our next destination. Of course, that's not going to be happening like right now. Hell, I may even save that for the next session just because. And by the way, when it comes to most quests in the game, you can take your time. You can take your time completing most quests and you're able to complete them without too much of a problem. However, when it comes to later quests, or more or less a certain number of other quests in the game, they may have something attached to them to make it so you have to complete them within a given time limit. Otherwise, that quest will not be available anymore. Of course, we don't have to worry about that right now, but I'll point that out when we come across those particular quests. Thankfully, there's not that many of those types of quests in the game, but it is something to keep in mind if you're planning on going after them all. If you don't complete those particular timed quests in time and you progress too far into the story, then you won't be able to complete them at all. And you miss out on that particular quest's rewards. Oh, that's nice. It's definitely a good idea to not dare your friends into doing something incredibly stupid. This applies to real life too, folks. Just saying. Sometimes the simplest things in life are just the best things to cherish. You know what they say, the best things in life are free. Just saying. Let's see here. Anyway, I do know that we have about 10 minutes before we reach the 3-hour mark of this session. And there's still something else I kind of want to take care of around here. It's not much else, trust me, but it is something I kind of want to look into real quick. Even though we have a full detailed map by pushing in the left analog stick, that doesn't apply when you push the Y button. As you can see, there are still areas of the map that are clearly blacked out. And in order to get them visible, you do have to explore those areas. Which, as I mentioned in the last session, this game highly encourages exploring each and every area that you are currently visiting. Because, seriously, some of these areas can have some pretty nice rewards if you explore hard enough. Trust me, it's well worth your time. Sometimes when exploring these unknown areas, you may even come across unique monsters as well that you do need to take on and fight. Well, okay, you may not necessarily need to take them on, but I'm just saying, if you want to truly 100% this game, you will have to fight every single unique monster and deal with them as soon as humanly possible. Alright, let's go. Time for this next unique monster. By the way, one other thing I haven't mentioned yet is that sometimes... Okay. That was pathetic. What was I trying to say? Oh yeah. Some enemies that you may end up fighting at a later point in time, or even regular unique monsters, or just these kinds of monsters in general, sometimes they may try to attract their friends to join in the battle. And oddly enough, you can get yourself into some serious trouble if you're dealing with a whole bunch of enemies all at once. So that's something to keep in mind. So, another thing I haven't mentioned yet, and I didn't really mention this because I kind of got caught up in other things, including the story, but when Dunban joins Shulk and Fiora during the attack on Colony 9, you're not able to change around Dunban's equipment, which is kind of weird. But even so, this is kind of commonplace when guest party members join your party. And yes, that is a thing, although that won't come into play until a little bit later on. So, I'll point those out as we come across them. For now, just keep in mind that certain party members, you won't be able to do much of anything with them until, or you just won't be able to deal with those guest party members very much at all. All done. Well, I did not mean to pick everything up at once. Oh, hello. We have some red labeled enemies here.
Looks like we don't have a choice. Are we insane? Eat this.
As you can see, red banner enemies, these kinds of guys, even if you have super strong equipment, you won't be able to do much of anything against them, and sometimes it's just simply a better idea to make a run for it. And by the way, when you're dealing with a red banner enemy like this, like I said, they're going to have some very high advantages against you. And like I mentioned earlier, sometimes it's just simply a better idea to make a run for it. Thankfully, they won't chase you forever, but even so. Some enemies may chase you for quite a distance, and I mean quite a distance. And it's not exactly what we call fun, now is it? Let me tell you, it isn't. It's not fun at all. There is one other thing I haven't mentioned yet, and that is this version of the game, Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition, it actually adds in a new feature called autosave. Whenever you fast travel or transition from one area to another, the game automatically saves progress in its own dedicated save slot. So, when you're playing this game, you have access to 3 save files, and one dedicated solely to autosave. So, that's something to keep in mind. And like I said, autosave will initiate whenever you're transitioning from one area to another, or if you're fast traveling. However, it doesn't really so much apply when whenever you're just simply roaming around the area. So, that can be kind of disastrous if you're relying solely on autosave to save your progress. So, that's something to keep in mind. And, well, would you looky here, this little thing has respawned. Oh, that's just great. And by the way, I haven't really mentioned this yet, but some of the Monado arts, as you can see here, I have every single Monado art in the game. And even during a New Game Plus playthrough, you have access to future Monado arts basically straight away, which is pretty nice. But for the sake of continuity, I will try to avoid using those arts until it's necessary. So, like I said, the Monono arts that you start with are Monono Enchant as well as Monono Buster. But as you progress, you'll get your hands on even more Monono arts. And believe it or not, some of the other Monono arts you can get your hands on can only be acquired via quests. So be sure to keep that in mind. Thankfully, these kinds of arts that you can acquire via the quest lines, they are not tied to time whatsoever. So in other words, you can take your time completing those particular quests that award you the new art. Just keep in mind though that you can choose to take those quests on again if you already have the art from a prior playthrough. And I believe the reward remains the same, just you don't get the art again, obviously. Hello there. Cylinder hanger. I can't blame you for feeling the way you do. Sure, that doesn't seem like a problem. By the way, you can refuse to accept certain people's quests if you so wish. But honestly, why the hell would you? Seriously, just accept every quest you come across, please. It just makes things that much easier. And funny enough, doing these quests, some of them may be out of the way, sure, but keep in mind, doing these quests will award you a lot of experience. Some of them may even award you with some really nice items as well. And this also helps when you're trying to go through the main game, so you don't have to worry so much about grinding. Seriously, grinding is not a thing in this game. Or at least when it comes to the main game. When it comes to post-game content, however, yeah, some grinding will have to be involved.
This door. It was closed when we came past before. But it's open now.
Maybe it was programmed to open up in case of Mechon emergency. The way to the Bionis knee is just ahead. You ready?
Yeah, let's go.
Believe it or not, we're not going to be heading that way just yet. The only reason I would want to head over here in the first place is just so I can get my hands on not only the experience for here, but also so I can get this quest line started from this Defense Force soldier. And I also want to work on completing another quest within this place, like within the early parts of this place, before we move on. Just because they won't take too long to complete, and obviously I can get my hands on everything I need right here and now.
Oh, hi.
Okay, sure. Also, apologies again for speeding through the dialogue too quickly. Force of habit, what can I say? Okay, at least we were able to complete this particular quest within a timely manner. Alright, that shouldn't be too hard. And again, if you don't happen to have the items required, just pull up the quest at any time and go ahead and track it. You'll be able to figure out what you need at what particular point in time just by simply looking at the quest details. And also following the waypoint of which each quest will mark for you. When tracking a quest, you'll be able to follow a waypoint marker to that particular quest. So say, for example, we're tracking a quest that requires us to go to someplace fairly far away. Well, we can choose to track that particular quest until we finish it, or we just don't need to keep track of it any longer. Sweet. Get smacked. By the way, another thing I haven't mentioned yet is that in order to even be able to execute a chain attack, you do need to have at least 2 or more active party members. Otherwise, the party gauge is really not useful for anything at all. So, that's something to keep in mind. Okay. By the way, if you're looking for a particular item in which only a certain species of enemies drop randomly, and you can't find any more of those enemies within a given area, you can fast travel to the previous landmark if you so wish, and just simply reload the area and then just keep going again and again until you get everything you need. Of course, there are some exceptions to the rule, however. That usually involves gathering blue orbs that are scattered throughout the different parts of the field and everything.
Hello.
As those orbs, they tend to take a while to respawn. Sounds like you got a problem indeed. Oh dear. Near Villa Lake and Tepra Cave. Interesting. Okay, that doesn't seem too hard. Okay. Alright, let's see here. I noticed that there's a blue exclamation mark, meaning the quest I'm currently tracking at the person I'm looking for has shown up. So now I have a direct path, or a direct waypoint to the person whom I'm looking for. Which, again, this is only a thing in Definitive Edition. This was not in the original game, or the 3DS version. Alright. And I believe at this point, all we need to do now is just return to good old Grandma, and everything will be good to go. I see that there's a exclamation point icon around here. Aha, here you are. Oh dear, what's going on here? A vision. 300,000 gold in 2 days. Jesus. Well, this is definitely gonna be quite problematic. And anyway, the quest I'm currently tracking sadly can't be completed right now because good old Grandma's not around. So again, you don't know where she is, just change the time and eventually she'll show up. Alrighty. I think that's going to be enough for today, folks. Even though I completed a good number of quests and everything, we're not quite done with quest doing yet. Then again, I feel like I can continue this one. That works. Funny how I said that's enough for today and I end up doing one more. That's funny. Whatever, it's no big deal. Alright, let's see here. According to our quest log, there's still several more quests that we can do right now if we so wish. And honestly, it's not a bad idea, but again, at this point, I think it might be a better idea for me to return to Tephra Cave and get ready for the next part of the game, which is gonna be quite fun. And I mean fun. Literally, it's gonna be fun. So with that, folks, I'm going to go ahead and start closing things out right now. First off, I need to clear this asshat away. Otherwise, I'm going to have some unnecessary friends on my tail. And it's not exactly what we call a fun time. So, yeah, with that, folks, I bid you all adieu for today. This is General Snivy with the Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition playthrough. Thank you all so much for watching, and if you were able to attend the live stream live, thank you for attending. Next time, we're going to explore this new area that has now opened up within Tephra Cave, reach the Bionis' knee, and figure out where the hell that metal-faced Mechon went. So, yeah, it's going to be fun, filled with all kinds of thrills, spills, and everything else in between. Once again, thank you all so much for watching. Hope you all enjoyed. I will see you all next time for more Xenoblade fun. Bye!